Hello, everyone. My name is Kerry Dabney, and you are about to embark on the online version of my course in Christology. Before you begin to proceed into the lessons of this course, I thought it would be advantageous to briefly review the significant points of the syllabus for the course, the requirements of the course, and how best to work through each lesson of the course. To begin, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If you selected this online course because you assumed it's online, it's a theology course that I can get out of the way, this should be relatively easy, I want to warn you that this is not a easy course. It requires just as much academic rigor as a course that I teach on campus when you're in the classroom. This is a theology course that will study the person, being, and activity of Jesus of Nazareth. This is not a historical, critical study of Jesus, nor any type of quest for the historical Jesus. Rather, this is a theology course, meaning this course is about the reception of the Easter proclamation of Jesus's resurrection and the theology that resulted and developed over the centuries because of that proclamation. We will be examining biblical accounts, early theological thinkers, and early church councils. My primary goal in this course is to provide you with the information and method that will enable you to demonstrate knowledge of how Christian tradition contextualized, synthesized, and organized foundational teachings that formed the tradition's understandings of Jesus as Christ, both his divine and human nature and his relationship with the other divine persons of the Trinity, that being God the Father and God the Holy Spirit. There are two required texts for this course. One is entitled The Christological Controversy by Richard Norris, and the other is The Trinitarian Controversy by William Rush. In addition to these two texts, there will be from time to time other readings that you will be assigned that I will provide to you digitally. And I'll talk a little bit more about where you can find those at on ECN. In order to evaluate your participation and your ability to grasp the content of the course, we have to do a few things because this is an online course. Now, normally, when I teach in a classroom, the participation or what I call the discussion points are much easier for me to evaluate because we're in the classroom speaking with each other. However, because this is an online course, this is not going to be possible, obviously, right? So to simulate this as much as we can, you're going to be responsible for participating each week in discussion posts. In order to get credit for the activity, with each discussion post being worth 15 points total, you have to participate in a specific way in each of the discussion posts. Number one, I'm going to give you a prompt for the topic for the week. You have to post your response to my prompt to the discussion post. And then in addition to that, you need to respond to two of your fellow students' postings to my response or to my prompt. So in other words, there will be a minimum of 3 postings each week for each student. One original posting of their own, and then responding to a fellow student's posting, 2 of them. Your original post will be due each week by Wednesday at 11:55 p.m. And all responses to fellow students' postings will be due by Sunday at 11:55 p.m. Please look at the syllabus on page 3 or on page 5 for what I will be looking for in a good post and in a good response. And you can find the syllabus on ECN under the syllabus tab. If you click on the syllabus tab, I have the syllabus downloaded and embedded right there on the page. In addition to your weekly post, you will be assigned a weekly assignment. The weekly assignment will require you to write a short essay response to a question or prompt, again, that I will provide. The question will be designed to reinforce the primary objectives for the lessons each week, which also, talk about in a moment, will be visible each week's lesson. It's going to list what the objectives are. While I will have the question for the weekly assignment on the lessons page each week, or a link to the assignment, please keep in mind that you will be expected to write out your response as a Word document, attach the Word document on ECN to the assignment, and submit it that way. Depending on the week and the question, you can expect to write anywhere from 1 to 3 pages for an adequate response. Again, you can look at the syllabus to see what I'm looking for in an adequate short essay response. All documents need to be in the following format. So all your assignments need to have this format. They need to be double spaced, 12-point times New Roman font with your name and the lesson number at the top of the page. If you cite, or when you cite, any portions of the readings in your response, please use a citation style that is appropriate for your major field of study. You're all not theologians who are taking the course, so please use whatever citation you're most familiar with. Just make sure it is a citation style that I can recognize. Again, please look at page 8 in the syllabus of the rubric so that you can get an understanding of what I'm looking for in the evaluation of your written assignments. It is important to note that there will be no late discussion posts or weekly assignments accepted. Also, I want to point out that the weekly written assignments and the discussion posts make up nearly 3/4 of your total grade. So please do not take these weekly assignments or the discussion posts lightly. The weekly assignments will be due on Sunday by 11:55 p.m. Each week. And lastly, you will all have an oral exam that will be conducted during the final week of the course. Each week, when I'm doing the lectures, and again, I'm going to talk about how to proceed through each lesson momentarily, but when I go through the lectures, there will be a specific controversy or teaching regarding Jesus, Christology, God the Son, and so forth, that I will identify that has been considered unorthodox or heretical. You will need to take extra note to these unorthodox and heretical teachings throughout the lectures. I suggest compiling a list of these unorthodox views, the names that I refer to them as, their basic teachings, important figures, if they're associated with that belief, because this is what you're going to get examined on for the oral exam. I'm going to wrap up this introduction to the course with letting you know exactly what you will see on the page of each lesson and suggest some ways to proceed through the course that I believe will be most beneficial. To start off, right now, the video came from the introductory page. If you look to the right of the introductory statement that I make, you will see each lesson listed as a button. Lesson 1, lesson 2, and you click on it. When you click on that button, you will see that for each week, the learning objectives for the lesson and the readings assigned for that week, you will see listed on the page. In this course, you will not be reading commentators on these early church writers or commentators on these early beliefs. Rather, you'll be reading primary writings of these authors themselves. All of these were written well over 1,000 years ago at minimum. So I'm telling you now, the readings won't be the easiest to digest initially. That is why, along with the readings, directly below that, you will see several short video lectures from myself that will point out to you the important passages and points that the author is making and how they are connected to the objectives that I want you to grasp for the week. The best way to proceed through each lesson is to first look at the learning objectives for the week. Have a copy of the reading in front of you, of the readings in front of you, so that you can follow along as I point out specific passages. So in other words, when you get to the page, look at what the learning objectives are, have the readings in front of you, and begin to listen to the lectures. Use the pause button if necessary. If I say something and you're writing it down, pause the video, rewind the video, all right? Make sure that in your notes, not only that you follow along, you make annotations as to specific passages that I'm pointing out in the reading, but also make notes like if I add background to the author that may not be in the text, the meanings behind certain phrases or statements of the author, and how I connect one author to another. One of the most important things to take note of is the various unorthodox beliefs that are pointed out in each lecture. After you have listened and followed along in the reading, as I lecture, then go back to the learning objectives and make sure that you can articulate in your own words the main points that revolve around those objectives. If you are able to accomplish this, then you've got a good grasp of the content for the week. I suggest starting this early in the week, because if you're able to accomplish this early on in the week, it'll make it easier to make the appropriate discussion points on the discussion post, as well as when you're completing the weekly assignment. And all the while, work on compiling that list of the unorthodox teachings that I talk about, or the heretical teachings that I talk about. Sometimes I call them controversies. I'll point out what they are, because all of this will help you prepare for the oral exam, which, remember, will only be on unorthodox and the heretical beliefs that we talk about regarding Jesus, Christ, and or the Trinity. My email is posted on the syllabus. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, welcome to Theology 202 Christology, and good luck.